Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we're going to make a simple pair of earrings using my beads that I received from Jesse James Beads for being one of their design ambassadors. So let's turn down and we'll get started with it. I'm going to pull my beads out and we will start looking at stuff, and I'll let you know what we're going to do. I think you're going to enjoy these. Okay, the earrings we're going to make are going to be pretty simple. In fact, let's see, I have a picture drawn. Sorry, bumped something there. Here, very simple little pair of earrings. This is the cloth bead from Out of the Dark Academia. And then these are the leaves and the pearl from the Aurora Borealis. And then we're going to put them on chain to hang down below these. So let's get them out and we'll get started on them. So the beads we're going to use from Dark Academia are only these two big cloth beads, which are really pretty, aren't they? And then I'll put the rest of these away because this is the only thing we need out of this bunch. And then we need, out of this one, these two pearls, one for each. And then we're going to dig out all of these little leaves. I don't remember how many there are. There's either 6 or 8. However many there are is the amount we're going to use. Ah, there's the other one. I was going to say, Jesse James Beads always puts a even amount in here, so they've got to be one more in there. And of course there was. Okay. Get the rest of these things put back into this dish. Now then, what we're going to do is we're going to take these and we're going to take some wire, make a loop down at the bottom, and then we are going to put this bead up here and finish it up and put some ear wires up above. And then on the loop that's down here, we're going to hang 3 pieces of chain, and then we're going to hang these little beads from those chains. And we're going to make them different lengths because we want them to hang not all bunching up together. So it will look sort of like this when we're done. So let's get some wire, some ear wires, and I'm not sure if we're going to need jump rings will work on these or not. We will try that. If not, then we will need to do a little wiring, and we need some chain. So let's get those things out. Well, I've got a number of things. I got some little what I call conforming bead caps. Because they're lightweight metal, they will usually let you push them around on your bead. I'm going to put 2 on our pearl, but then I'm also going to put 2 on our cloth bead, 1 on either side. Now I have already fixed this one so that it will work, as you can see. And we will need to do the others as well. And then I've got some chain here. Isn't this a pretty chain? I've always loved this chain. Here, let's see if we can get it to you better. It's got a small little ball here and then 2. So this is a fun chain. But the first thing we're going to need to do is to fix these little caps. So in order to do that, we want to take these caps. This is what they look like, of course, before they're worked on. But we need them to flatten out like this because otherwise, well, here, I'll show you. See, they just sort of bump up on the top there, and we don't want it to do that. We don't like the looks of that. So we're just going to put this on our steel block. Be careful, we're going to make noise now. And just take our nylon hammer and lightly tap it till it starts to flatten out. And then we'll put it back on this, and we'll see how it looks. As you can see, this one went a little too much, so we need to conform it. There we go. Now this one left more cap and flattened a little more than I wanted it, so we're going to just take our pliers and easily bend those back in place just a little bit. We don't want a lot because it's almost where we wanted it, so let's check it out. Okay, there we go. That one's good now. So now that we have these two, we need to do the other two. Now, I discovered with this one, which I'd already done, that if you move it a little bit by hand already before you start with your flattening, you don't get that bubble up so much. So there's one, and then we'll move this one till we get some of those little bits out further. And then we're ready to do the second one as well. So just now let's check to see if they're where we want them at. Yep, that one's good. So now that we have our bead caps flattened into a shape that will work well for us, we'll go on either side here. The next step is to decide how much chain we want to hook the leaves onto. So I'm thinking, since this chain has two different styles of length, the little ball and then the big one, that I am going to go from the big link to the other big link for one section, from the little link to the other to another little link for another section, and then just one little of each for the third section. And we'll need 3 of those, obviously. So let's get those cut. So we'll cut right here, and right here for the one side. And then we'll need a second batch of those. So 1, 2, this is the first one. The second one, yep, right here. Oops, I didn't get that all the way through. And then the one with just the 2 links, the big one and the small one. Okay, now we have the chain all cut. We can get rid of all our little scraps here and put our chain away. Okay, now the next thing is, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be the case, is to take our wire and see if it will fit through the links. Now, I don't want to use anything smaller than 20 gauge, which I have here, but if the links will not fit through, we'll have to jump ring them, and that's all right. We can do that. But let's get some wire out and see what will work here. Now, the first thing, like I say, we're going to check is if the chain links will go through the wire. And it has. That's excellent. And all 3 pieces appear to be going through, so that's good. So we won't need to jump ring these on after all. It can be hardwired. So we need a piece of wire that we will go from making a bigger loop down at the bottom, through our bead caps and this big bead, and then through the big bead caps and that, and make a loop up here. I like about 1 inch for my upper loop. We'll need about this much for our beads, probably not quite that much, this much. And then we'll need at least this much, I'd say, for our bottom piece. And if we have a little extra, I'd rather have a little extra. So we will cut this here, and then we'll measure it, and then cut a second piece for the other side. So this looks to be just a little over 5 inches. So let's cut another 5-inch piece. And then we'll put our wire away for right now. As you can see, I've let this unspool quite a bit here, unfortunately. So we'll put it back in its baggie so that it won't unspool anymore, and we will get to work on these. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is make the loop at the bottom, and we're going to make a relatively good sized one, and then we'll hang the chain on before it goes up and into the earring. So let's straighten our wire out as best we can. Now, if you have a wire straightener or something, you can use that. You don't have to do your fingers. I just like to do my fingers because I can feel every little bump and such then. Okay, so now that I have this first bit done, I'm going to do my bend. Just bend it 90 degrees, like so. Then I'm going to use my bell making pliers to make our loop. Now these are my smaller bell making pliers. I'm going to use the smaller of the two sizes. If I was wanting to make my top loop, which I will of course later, I would get my stepped ones out and use the very smallest of those because I don't want a really huge loop. So then let's go around. And now that we've got the lollipop shape, we will fit our chain onto here. And it doesn't matter which one you put on first or last. I'm just grabbing them up and putting them on. Now this last one, since it's only 2 links, one big, one small, we will want to compare it when we put the other one on and make sure that we have it going the same direction. Let's see, there's those 3 on here. Now, if you don't like the way those hang, and frankly, I'm not liking the way those are hanging because they seem to be bumping into each other somewhat. And even with the weight of the leaf on, they might do that. So I'm thinking I am going to take these back off, and we are going to use some jump rings on them. So, since I'm going to do that, we'll just pull the chains back off, same way we put them on. This one actually wants to come up this way, which is just fine. I'm going to take the chains off and put them on with jump rings. Now is the time to just wrap this up in a simple loop. Excuse me, we're making a wrapped loop, not a simple loop. So we just want to take hold of it and wrap this around the base wire a couple of times. Now because, well, I was going to say because that's a big hole, this will slide into it. It won't, because we're going to be using a jump ring. I mean, not a jump ring, a bead cap. Here, we'll clip that off and then tuck this wire in. Put the bead cap on, one of the flattened ones we'd made. Slide our big cloth bead on. Oh, baby, go on. And as you can see, I'm going to have a lot more wire than I really needed, and that's all right. Oops, we want this. Okay, there is the base for this one. Now we'll make a loop at the top and put on our bead wire. Then we're going to put the leaves onto the chain and jump ring them onto the wire, onto the earring. Okay, the second one makes just the same way as the first one. We want to bend the wire, get our smaller of our two on the smaller bell making pliers, bring her around, come her around, make the lollipop shape, as you can see, and then wrap this around. Now that we have the loop made here, we'll then of course put on our flattened bead cap, the cloth bead, and the other flattened bead cap. Then we will put on the bead cap for the pearl, and the other bead cap for the top. And there we have that again. Now again, we are going to make a loop. This time though, we're going to make the smaller loops for our ear wire. So we bend her over and we get the small stepped bell making plier, and we want to use the smallest one. So tuck that in, wrap it around, bring it all the way around, check to make sure you got the lollipop shape, and then we're going to put our ear wire in. Now, if this had a definite front and back, you'd want, when you put the ear wire in, you'd want the ear wire to face the back, because as you pull it around, as you can see, now it's facing the other direction, so now it's to the front. So since you've got that done, now all you need to do is take hold of it right here where the bins come together, and then just wrap our wrapped loop. And wrap it as many times as will fit there. And if you've got it all in place, then take your clippers, carefully clip it off, the extra, making sure you don't have your loop or your ear wire stuck inside there. And then we'll just push it down into place. And the next step is to put on our chains. Okay, so now what we want to do is we need to put our chains onto the loop down here at the bottom with our jump rings here, and then we're going to have to put the leaves onto the chain. Now, I don't think the leaves will work on the jump rings, and not the smaller ones anyway. So no, they won't. So we'll just put the chains on right now, and then we'll worry about the leaves in a minute. So now that, since I've got this one open already, we'll just use it. One of the chains, just grab whichever one you want. And hook her onto your bottom loop here. And then we'll do that with all three of these. Now when you open your jump rings, be sure you're opening them from side to side with a twisting motion, as opposed to pulling the loop apart. And then to close them, do the same thing, just twist it back. I think I just made one of those little jump rings fly, but well, it's all right. Now, the last one, and hook it on. Okay, now the 3 chains are on this one, and we have to put the 3 chains on the other. So let's set these aside here, and then get opening the jump rings for the other 3 chains. So as you can see, I've got hold of it here, and take hold of it with the other one and just twist it sideways. You notice I dropped that one down. Oh, it wasn't the one I thought. I thought it was the smallest one. I want to compare with the other side to make sure when I put the smallest one in that I have the wires going the same way. Oh, that one's up a little. There we go. Now these are oval jump rings, and their split is in the side where one of the long sides are at. Okay, now this is the last one, and like I say, we put it over here, so we want to find out how we did it. And you can see the larger of the 2 links is at the top, so that's the way we want the other one, this one over here, to go as well. So just open this up, get hold of this, and make sure that we grab the larger side. So now we hook this on here, and all of our chains are now in place. Now I need to decide how we're going to hook our little leaves on, and are we going to just get some wire, or am I going to... No, I'm not going to try a larger jump ring, because larger jump rings will not go through the little hole on the chain. So I need to get some wire. We'll see if our 20 gauge will fit on these little leaf pieces. If it won't, we're going to need to get the neck size down. So let's try that out. So see where the end of the wire is, right here. We already tried it on the chain, so we know it will work on the chain. Yes, it will. So we need to get some wire out, and I'm just going to cut a hunk off. And we will straighten this up and cut a piece off of this for the first leaf. So we'll just cut a piece off. It's not going to need much, because what we're going to do is simply to put this on here, bring it up, wrap it like this, bring them down until they meet each other. We'll want to take our pliers and bend this one up. Now we're going to do 1 or 2 wraps here at the bottom. We're not going to make very many wraps, because we're going to have to bring it through the chain and come back down and wrap some more. So we don't want to have an atrocious lot of wraps. So let's do this. Cut it off. Now, as you can see, it's got a nice little it's hanging on there nicely. So I could have left it a little more space so it would wiggle some more, but it doesn't really need it. Go here. I'm actually going to have more than I wanted here. Come on, baby, go on there. Go. Now I actually made this top one higher up than I wanted it to be, since I really only wanted about 4 wraps total. We have 5, but it's not bad. So there's the bottom one on. Now we need to make the other 2 and then put the 3 on the other side. So let's cut another piece of wire off. Put our bead through. Now you can do this another way. I just put it through and then bend it up on both sides. You could just take it and bend it to start with. Put your bead down on and take your pliers and bend it up. And this is the way some people prefer to do it, because as you can see now, though, I've got mine crooked and I don't really care for that. So let's straighten her up. Now that we've got it down here at the bottom, we will take our pliers and bend this one up, hold it here, and do 2 wraps. Like I said, 2 because I don't want to have a ton of wraps on our on this little piece. So now that I've got the 2 off, I'm going to cut this one. Tuck it in. Then I'm going to take and make for the upper loop. So, okay, now that we've got the bottom done, let's turn it, flip it over. Go in with our bell making pliers, go up and around, bring her around. And now we're going to put it on the chain. Come on, baby, on you go. There we go. Now we just hold her in place there and wrap those last couple ropes. Clip the excess and tuck her in. And this earring is finished. Now, if you think that it's, excuse me, this one's a little bent, so we're going to fix that. If you think it's too long, you don't have to put this long of chain on here. And it actually is a little long. We could shorten them up a bit, and I may do that by just taking one of the links out of each one of these bigger ones. And to do that, since I already have the leaves on the bottom, all you would need to do is take the jump ring up and cut the extra piece off. So what we're going to do, so they're a little shorter but not atrociously short, is we're going to take this longest one up, take it off, now the other one is going to be the longest one here, and we're going to take this out of here and we're going to cut it, and we're just going to have this one longer link then. So then the one that was the middle size is now going to be the longest, and we will put this back on now as the shortest. And there we go. And I think I like that length a little lot better anyway. So we need to do the same one with this one over here so that we have it the same length as the others. So we'll take this longer one off. And in all actuality, we don't need to take this one off because we don't have the bottom piece on it. We just need to cut off those last two links. And there, now we have the shorter one here. So this earring is finished, and in order to finish this one, we now need to wrap our leaves and finish and do it. Since I still have one piece of wire here, we will take and make the bend in this one and get our first one going here. These two together. Bend up this upper wire, this longer wire, so it goes up straight. Hold these together and do the 2 wraps. That bead looks a little crooked, so straighten that some. It's better. And then cut this off. Tuck this in. I am not liking the looks of that. It does not please me. So I may just cut it loose. That's better. So we'll make the little loop. Chain on. Hold and wrap. And I made that bigger than I wanted it to be. And there we are. Our 2 earrings are now done. Hope you like those. So now that we are finished with those, let's turn up and we will put all the tools away and we will show them to you a little better. Okay, so here's our earrings. As you can see, those are pretty much shoulder dusters, even with the link we took out. And they're very pretty. Hope you like those. Especially since these ones decided to give me problems today. They say about Murphy's Law. If it can give you problems, it will give you problems. And these were trying to today, weren't they? Anyway, this has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and I hope you had a good time with me today. And we'll see you later. Bye-bye.